All right. What's going on, party people? This is your man Griff. Hey, quick video here, maybe. I don't know. But first, thank you for hitting the like button. Greatly appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in and give me your feedback. I do listen, look at it, I read it, all of that. So thank you very, very much. I really appreciate y'all, party people. So this topic is, and at this particular moment, I have not figured out what I'm going to act, how I'm going to do the title, but this subject is dealing with basically concerning going full time in the notary business or as a notary for this notary business. How to do it or what are the steps? I don't know how I'm gonna label it. Okay, seriously, I don't. But I've been thinking about it for a couple of days, and I really wanted to sit down and just do a video on it and break each piece down. But every single time I started to do that, or even try to carve out time, some money making opportunities came. Closings, house inspections, whatever the case may be, or I might need help a notary out. They want to talk and get some advice on something, share something. They got some orders and they got their first orders and they want to talk about it. So I want to hear. So I'll do the video later. That's all I say. I'll do it later. Hearing from notaries and talking with y'all is more important than doing videos, although I know y'all appreciate the videos. So going full time in this business as a notary, and I think this can be applied to any business. And yes, I already know that there's going to be people out there that says everything that I'm saying is trash. This is the way you should do it. This is the way I did it. I get that. Then do a video on it. If you don't like the way what I'm talking about, then go do your own video. But I'm giving it from my perspective, from what I've learned, and a little from what I've learned from other people when they talked about going full time into business and things that they wish they had done, wish they had known, or put more emphasis on before going full time into business. So, got some notes here. So, the first thing I believe that you need to do is make sure you have a good understanding of what being a notary is all about. Understand, let me read it from my card, okay? Understand what being a notary is all about. I'm gonna read it from my card the way I wrote it. Understand what being a notary is all about. So you need to know what this is about in accordance with your state. When you understand what the role of a notary is, what it's all about, it will help guide you in staying out of trouble. Then you need to understand what being a business owner really means, okay? And these two are critical because there are a lot of people who are telling you this is what a notary is, this is what being a business owner is all about, and there are some of them, a majority of them, are incorrect. They don't fully understand themselves, and then they're trying to teach you. So you need to make sure you understand what being a notary is all about in accordance with your state, and you need to understand what being a business owner really, 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 really means. Okay. Sometimes it's not this stuff that they're talking about out here. Once you have that down pat, now you got to do something. You got to have a conversation. You got to talk with your family. If you're single, that might mean you need to talk to your extended family, especially your support system, those who are going to be taking care of your kids if you have any, or anything, with this. So this is before you go full time, okay? Before you still working your job or whatever the case may be, or some other side hustle, and you've been doing notary, and you're like, I want to go full time. Okay, well, here's things that I considered in going full time. From a male's perspective or man's perspective, I felt that I needed to have a conversation with my family to make sure, because I'm the head of the house here, and they depend on me, they look toward me, and I just can't be doing stuff without having a conversation and helping them to understand what the endeavors are that I'm doing, What's my next move? This, that, and the other. They need to have clear understanding of that. They need to hear from me before I just go and do it. Okay, especially full time. So have a talk with your family so you can get them on board, so that they can understand what it is that you're trying to do. They may not understand it fully, but if you have a conversation with them, even at the beginning stage, just as doing it part time, just have a discussion with them. Say, hey, Dad's not going to be around as much during the day because I'm doing this, or Mom, because of this, or in the evenings I got to go out. Dot dot dot. Let them know what's going on, and then show them the success by letting them see you with the checks. Let them see you cash the checks and put the checks in the bank. Show them that I did this work and this is what they paid me. That way they can see that, oh, you're actually doing it. Because sometimes they'll sit there and like, well, if Dad can make X amount of dollars in 1 week, just imagine if he had our support. Just imagine if we stayed out of trouble and then didn't do stuff that would prevent him from taking this work. That could be money, because guess what? That money, or at least some of it, is being spent on me. So that's why it's very, very important for you to have a conversation with your family and then show them what you're doing. But you can't show them what you're doing if you don't understand what you're doing, meaning you don't understand what being a notary is all about, and you don't understand what being a business owner is really about. Okay, so when you understand that, then you can articulate that to your spouse. And yes, you may have a spouse that even after you understand that, they still don't get it. That's fine. That's fine. But at least you imparted some knowledge on them. They can sit back and think about it, marinate on it, maybe talk to a friend who can break it down better than what you could. That's cool. But at least you gave them the seeds of truth so that they can have that in them, and it might spark something in them. So that's why having a conversation is very, very important. Next, you need to understand. Understand the money the money needed for your household, and then you need to save, in my opinion, about 4 months. So you need to understand the money needed for your family. So what is the net that you need to have coming in to take care of all your bills? Now, I understand that some of you may have savings, you might have retirement, you might have life insurance policies you can pull from. I get that. Some of you may have retirements that you're pulling from. I get that. Nonetheless, it still wouldn't hurt to have about 4 months worth of household income available when you go full time. So you got to understand the money that's needed for your household, so you can understand and communicate to your spouse what level of effort and work that you're going to have to do to make things pop. Then you need to understand the payment flow from the clients that you're doing. Now, to understand that, you actually got to go out here and do the work. And this is why it's so key that when you're part-time, when you're working a W-2, you actually go out there and take as many orders as you can, because whether it's a $50 or $150, the person has a pay flow, and whether you're making 50 or 150, you're going to probably get paid via the same method and the same day or the same time period of each month, based on the fact that you did some work with them. But if you don't do any work, how do you know what their pay flow is? How do you know whether they pay 60 days or 90 days or whatever? How do you know if they just direct deposit or they pay e-checks? You need to know these things, okay? You need to know how the flow of money comes into you from these other entities. Then you need to have 4 to 6 months worth of supplies. Pens, business cards, all of that. I got so many business cards it ain't funny. Now, if you constantly changing phone numbers, okay, addresses, you're gonna have to find something. Get a Google Voice number and keep that constant. But you need to have 4 to 6 months of supplies, so that once you're out here, you're not running out. And I'm just giving an overview of this. I'm going to try to go into detail about this later, and feel free to ask any questions as we're going through this. Then marketing, the fifth one that I have here, outside of the first two, marketing plan for non-loan closing customers. So there are clients. So if you're primarily a notary doing loan closings, and this goes reverse, if you're a notary that not doing loan closing primarily, whoever you're not doing business with currently, you need to come up with a marketing plan for them. So if you're doing primarily loan closings, who are the companies that don't have anything to do with loan closings, but I can market to? So you need to come up with a plan to market to them, and vice versa. If you're doing more estate planning, this, that, and the other, how do I get a piece of the loan closing pie? Then another one is understand and develop a workflow. And then number 7 is know your daily and weekly calendar. Those two are very, very important. I'm not saying they're the most important, but they are very important from the standpoint of understanding your workflow. Now, I'm going to give y'all an example. So the workflow is how you go about getting that order together in the flow of it, okay? Whether it's last minute or you got 5 days, it don't matter. What is your workflow? How do you go about doing it? How do you print? Do you, if you got 2 printers like I do you print, do you print on this one first or that one first? Whatever the case may be. Is there something you tweak with the document? Sometimes the shipping label is all the way in the back or in the middle. I'll pull that to the front. Sometimes, depending on how I want to print the documents, I might leave it to the back as a separator between the first set and the second set. These are different workflows that I have depending on what I got going on. So if I got 4 or 5 closings, I might print a closing on my 6400 twice, and then a closing on my 6200 twice. And then I'm going to take the shipping label and move it to the back as a marker between, showing that when I see this shipping label, that's the end of the first set. Or I will not, I won't leave I'll just take the paper off and stick it in a folder. It all depends. Do I have my folders? Do I have my toner? All of that. Where's my bags? Do I have extra bags? Do I have my shipping labels? Do I, not shipping label, but my shipping envelopes? All of that kind of stuff. What is my workflow? The reason why, because when you have a good workflow, you will be able to adjust to the craziness that's called the mortgage industry. As I've always said, the mortgage industry is last minute by nature. That is who the mortgage industry is. So if you're looking for it to be very, very stable and to always give you heads up 3, 4, 5 days ahead of time, and you're not going to get that. So today or yesterday, the 5th of December, I ended up at one point, note how I'm saying it, I ended up at one point having 5 appointments. One of them, all 4 of them was some type of closing, and one of them was a POA. I ended up only doing 4, but I'm going to explain to y'all what I went through, and the important, you'll see, and you should be able to see that having a good workflow is important. And the stuff that I wrote on this list is not exhaustive. It's not just that. It's other smaller things that I can really break down, and hopefully I'll find time to come back and do another video about that. All right, so I had an order that was for Monday, the 4th of December at 9:30 a.m. Sunday night, I get a call that order moved to 3:30 on Monday the 4th. Then I was told it moved to Tuesday at 3:30. And at some point, and I'll tell you when, it got moved to 4:30. Well, today I had a 10:30 Ron. I had an 11 a.m. power of attorney. I had the 3:30 before I went to 4:30, 3:30 buyers. Then I had a 7 p.m. HELOC. I was like, okay, cool. You said, well, that's 4. Where's the 5th? Well, while doing the Ron, which was for a person that was in Israel, U.S. citizen that was in Israel, I get a notification to do an 11 a.m. commercial on. Well, at the time that it came in, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get there by 11 a.m. And they called and said, hey, we know you can't get there by 11 a.m. Figure it out, schedule something with them today. I said, okay, cool. The reason why I took an 11 a.m. commercial on was because I had latitude to move the POA sign into either later in the day or the next day. I already knew that. So I was like, I can get that done because I've been working with this company to get it done for about a month and a half. There was a lot of paperwork and other stuff they had to get squared away. So now I got a 10:30 run that I'm trying to finish, and I made a mistake on it, so I had to get them to hop back on and redo it. Then I got a commercial on that I just picked up for 11 a.m. Got the 11 a.m. power of attorney, and while I was doing getting things together, finishing up the run, getting my power of attorney stuff together, and printing documents for my 11 a.m., I get a notification that my 3:30 moved to 4:30. So I'm like, okay, well, I can work with that because that gives me a little bit more space. So if I need to move the POA, I can, or the commercial, I can, because now I just was given an extra hour. So I contact the commercial loan person and I tell them, who I am. And they said, well, I told them, I said, I'll get back with you in a second. They said, no problem. So when I finally had a chance to contact them, thinking that, okay, I'll go do the power of attorney first, then come back and do the commercial loan by maybe 1:30 or so at the latest, I come to find out when I called them, oh, I'm not going to be here at 1:30. I won't be back till almost 2:30. So I'm sitting here like, okay, 2:30, but I don't have my documents for my 4:30. Boy, this is going to be pushing it tight. I finally got my documents for my 7. All right, cool. Got that done, printed. But man, how I'm going to make this thing happen. So I go home after my 11 a.m. POA. That didn't take long at all. And then I sit down and I start prepping the documents for my now 2:15, 2:30-ish commercial loan. Because I said, well, I'm going to need to get in and get out, and I can't delay this here. So I'm going to prep the documents. Well, while prepping, I find out my 4:30 is not canceled. So I'm just doing that. So my 4:30 gets canceled. So I'm like, okay, well, I got time and space. And I was like, something else might come out. I can grab that. And then I did my 7 p.m. HELOC. It was a lot of going back and forth. But when you have a workflow, when you understand how you're going to go about printing documents, getting them set up, putting them in your folders, all this, that, and the other, it's easy. There's nothing to get stressed over. I mean, it was hectic, trying to call this person, do this, that, and the other, confirm. Then I got other orders that started coming in for later this week. I'm sitting here clicking accept. And then next thing I know, a couple of them got canceled. That's cool. But you got to have a workflow. You got to have a method in which you get things done, get things set. So whenever I go, if my printer's already set, I can just hit print. I always got Adobe open. My scanner's ready. Everything. I got my folders right here. All of that. I know where my extra pens are, this, that, or the other. So I can just, at a moment's notice, flow. That's what you got to get to. It takes time. But what helps you is when you take orders. When you take orders, you end up going through the process of putting together an order and doing it versus you just sitting back waiting for your ship to come in. So that's the importance of workflow. Knowing your calendar, because I knew what days I had appointments, when other orders came in, I was able to just hit the button yes, like I've shared with y'all before in other videos. So it's very, very important that you just find a way to make things happen. And I know this is my list, this is the way I did things, but some of it could be used for you. So I'm going to end it there because I honestly could go on and on because there's so many other little smaller things that I could break this down and other topics that I had that I didn't even write down yet. But I just wanted to share that with y'all. Get your thoughts on it, and maybe we're gonna go in more into it, but maybe we can do more on this Friday for Fritter Friday and all of that. And other than that, that's it. So can't wait to hear what you got to say. Share your thoughts on this. And again, this is just my opinion. It's not saying you have to do it. If you do it, then great. Hopefully everything will work out fine. Give me a call if you get stuck on anything, and we'll make it happen. All right. Talk to y'all later. Peace.